At InsuraPatriot.com, our partners are aligned with your values. While we can't control who the most efficient carrier is for your area, we become the service model that acts as the intermediary with you and the best products in the market. No more waiting on robocalls to be shipped off to a foreign call center.
Think Napoleon Bonaparte was in some ways competent, but also he ended up taking credit for things that other of his generals did. It's like, you had one of his generals shoot. What's this guy's name? I forget his name, but like one of his generals, he was able to create a methodology. He'd have a French troops march like literally 70 miles per one day. So they were able to catch like other armies completely off guard because like their marching skills were completely unprecedented. But like Napoleon ends up like taking credit for like all these other people working under him's victory. So I definitely think that he's propped up and made to look like this kind of like messiah figure, this man of destiny. Yeah.
As you're saying this, I'm seeing Trump. Yes,
he's manufactured in this way too. Yeah. And, and Trump's another, like they're putting like coins of Trump up there with like they're talking about like people in Israel talking about comparing him to like Cyrus the Great and stuff. So there are a good bit of parallels there also. Yeah. But I see Napoleon as a psyop, and I think Trump is a psyop also. Yeah.
So my original partner that I identified as having special skills, right? What she was really stuck on the fact that Napoleon was not even a real figure. She was doing a whole dig, and I have a lot of the research on it that was effectively saying like maybe that even that this is real, is that maybe Trump is really not even a real figure right now. Maybe he is, sort of a character being.
I think both. Yeah. Well, I think they're real people, but like what's written about them isn't, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Like
it's like the battles happen and stuff, but like it's framed in a way where Napoleon gets all the glory. Like, oh my gosh, look, we have this man of destiny. He becomes romanticized, and then he ends up pushing dialectic further. And then you have the creation of nation states, and that you could see that you could see Napoleonic era. Then he pretty much produced the age of romanticism, and I'd say we're still living in that society right now. So I'd say he in a lot of ways was used as a psyop to produce the social order that we're living in right now. And we're at the decadent tail end of that right now, and we're getting ready to move into a new thing.
What did Marina Abramovich say when it looked like he was going to get elected?
What did she say?
She said he is the master wizard.
Well, I think it's more like the wizards.
She was excited to have the master wizard reinstalled. She said it was good for what they want to happen for the one world order, because she says that in public that they say that they're for it. You know what I mean? They're not hiding that fact. But before he was about to win, she came on, and I saw a video of her saying, we're excited for him to win us effectively. He's the master wizard.
Yeah, and I have
for the golden age.
I talked to some like Balkan nationalist types, and like they'll some of them are from Serbia, some of them from Croatia, like they'll hate the other countries, but a bunch of them end up saying Napoleon Bonaparte is like the only politician I respect, or one of the only ones. Oh yeah, it reminds me. So I don't know what where your comments are coming from. It reminds me of Napoleon syndrome. Yeah, that's funny. But I don't know if Napoleon's the wizard. I think it's more like Napoleon is the spell, and the wizards are using him as that. Like, but that is a good analogy, though. Yeah,
much like Hitler, it appears, right?
Yeah, Hitler Oh my God. Hitler was like this kind of like Hitler was kind of like this bum who worked low end jobs because partly he wanted like control over his own schedule, but also it's like he wasn't really like doing much useful for society whatsoever, but like he had a messiah complex much like Napoleon, so he was he was promoted through the ranks. And part of it, I think, is when you have a charismatic figure like that who has a messiah complex, well, if people admire them, their brainworms spread to the masses. And I'd say a lot of these like romantic revolutionary sentiments that came from Napoleon ended up producing things like communism stem from said messiah complexes.
Yeah, in my opinion, to simplify it down, World War One was basically done to create him, and then World War Two was, that was the purpose of World War One, was to create him for what was to come on World War Two, what the intention was.
Well, and World War One actually was so much more brutal and traumatizing than like World War Two was too. It's like that trench warfare was brutal, and it ended up completely scarring a generation of young men. So I also think the whole like collective trauma inducing that on Europe was another big part of it. Yep. And also propping up America as the heroes to come in, so you can have like the new Atlantis being externalized with the whole urban monoculture. I think that's also part of it.
The whole Lusitania. I mean, come on. Like,
yeah.
Like if people only knew, right? If people only look deeper at all of these things and understand that. You said something at the beginning when we were talking here about, word, a word matching the word. And I am super huge on using the etymology site because it's all word magic. It's
word concept fallacies. Yeah, it's like if you look at these histories, it's like, yeah, the battles happened as they're reported, but it's the framing devices which I'd say are based on word concept fallacies. Like an example, Napoleonic Wars is like, yeah, like those battles happen as it did, but like the contributions of Napoleon's generals who actually were geniuses, and the brilliance of just the whole French system for the military, a lot of times Napoleon ends up getting undue credit, so he ends up getting more hype, and then you're able to paint these romanticized narratives, which would justify the whole revolutionary romantic culture that came out of that, and then was built on with Marxism, World War I, fascism, World War blah blah blah. It goes on, but yeah, like it's all word concept fallacies essentially.
So where do you see us sort of going here? Like if we don't have like the Democrats, they're lost. They're just completely lost.
They've lost the PR war. Yeah, like they're completely discredited. They're I think what you're going to so notice how with the memes that sort of condition people's social sentiments, you're seeing way more of like, oh, look at the Reconquista, that's awesome. Knights Templar, that's awesome. I think oh my gosh, like so people do get basic things right. It's like in a feudalist system where peasants had a lot of days off, and where nobles actually look, because it's like I talk against nobles and aristocrats a lot in my ex, but I'm sort of like looking at bad guys. You would have nobles and aristocrats who actually had the interest in the people in mind. Part of it's because like they want to be able to inherit those lands centuries down. So it's like, they have to be nice to the peasants. A system like that, that's not entirely evil, but you see it being hyped up. You see it being hyped up beyond proportion. But I think that's coinciding with a return to feudalism, and you're starting to see these old royal families like Habsburg and Louis the 20th of the head of the House of Bourbon positioning themselves to sort of come back out in the open. It's like you're seeing way more demand for all these monarchies. Oh yeah, you're seeing the same thing happen in Iran with the whole Iranian royal family coming back to prominence and them being romanticized also. So what I think's going on is when you're looking at I don't think the Scottish Enlightenment started off as all bad. I think it's more of a synthesis that came from it. But I think you're right to point that out and zero in on it, especially when it comes to the American system and the production of this urban monoculture that's been exported all over the world. But what I think happened is there's other variables that were outside of the ruling class's control, and they're also sort of adapting to it. It's like you definitely have instances where like they'd fake deaths and stuff, but it's kind of hard to prove that. But I also think there's other instances where it's like you'd have aristocrats and kings or whatever. They'd want to cling on to the old ways or whatever. And then because the smarter ones within that network recognize, hey, times are changing, we got to adapt. I think they realize times are changing, and you have all these new social sentiments, and industrialization is going to come whether we like it or not. So instead of going against the current and trying to hold on to this absolute monarchy and holding on to clericalism, let's move on to more technocratic means of social control. So what I think is going on is you're having descendants of the aristocracy who saw the writing on the wall, went in the background, in many cases betrayed their own cousins and their own siblings. They went in the background, played the long game, and through their various like intelligence network, through shells like Orders of Chivalry or Freemasonry or whatever, I think they're getting ready to come back in the open. And because part of the reason for why they allowed industrialization to take place is because they had ways to be able to shuffle around that wealth and that surplus production to be able to essentially create a giant technocratic prison, whether it's like AI, robotics, social credit, things like that. So what I think they want to do is when AI and robotics can replace the middle class and middle management is pull the plug on that whole system and pretty much revive feudalism, but in a way that's much more authoritarian and has much more levels of control than like pretty much any point of history. Because like, you know, liberal, if you want to produce surplus wealth and hyper industrialization, like a liberal system or a Scottish Enlightenment kind of system can work for that. But it looks like they're going against that now. It looks like they want to subvert that system that they allow to flourish earlier now, because a middle class isn't needed. Like if you have robots can produce things, and you don't need to have all these like workers' rights or whatever, and you don't need to have all these like white collar middle class type work if you have AI doing the intellectual work that's able to pull from like a bunch of people's thoughts, composite it, then apply it to other situations. So that's where I think we're going. Pretty much neo-feudalism with a technocratic context.
What if we're missing this whole thing because of perspective? Like, so, you know, the ants in the jar, when you're shaking them, they have no concept of what's on the outside of that jar, right? They're knowing that the earth is shaking, and they got these red ants who they're going to start warring with because for whatever reason, because they're agitated, because they're being shaken, right? So what if these other entities that we were talking about in the beginning actually have the ability to do time travel, right? That what if that is actually real, or what if they just know how it's supposed to go, right? So they have a plan, and their plan is they need the technology in order to bring about the coming of the Antichrist. They know that, so that way they have to move from that feudalist system, because there's no way to get there until the human collective reaches the level. You know what I mean?
Well, part of it, I don't think it's time travel as much as, remember, Hermeticism is their fundamental metaphysic, and Hermeticism is about merging categories. Like if you have two opposites, how there's differentiation right there. To them, transcendence is transcending differentiation. So that's merging of categories. So for them, the key to become pretty much subverting God and having the Antichrist win is merge categories of man and machine, other content. Like it's not just that, but that's essentially what they're going for. And essentially they want to, like, you know, when you're looking at Elon Musk, Neuralink, and Teilhard Chardin's Noosphere, they essentially they have it correct that like our essence, our soul or whatever is non-material. Now it is tied to our body, and because they are like Gnostics and Hermeticists, I think they misunderstand the body soul relation a little bit. So they think, oh look, data is non-material, the soul is non-material, so let's try and find a way to merge souls into a giant cloud, and we can collectively ascend to godhood. So then we'll beat God and attain immortality. So we don't have to worry about judgment or anything like that. That's kind of what I think they're going for. And they recognize that industrialization was needed for something like that.
So do you know what I did? I got to tell you what I did on Wall Street. So, but right before I left, I built what I called it was an algo of algos. So basically what it did was I traded millions of shares of stock per trade, and we built algorithms in order to break it down into small individual orders so you wouldn't spook the market, right? That's what it was on an individual basis. But where it went to was me being able to look at 2,500 names and trade them all as if they're one.
Wow.
Based upon the math, right? And so once you realize that you can do that, and I was doing it in the early 2000s, right, as a non-programmer, and basically I have programmers programming what I'm telling them to make. Now that you know you can do that, think about what you could do if you could get every single person to put into a system every single thought that they have.
Oh, I see how that ties in.
And now you track every thought. So let me step back a second. When I was doing that, the number one company at doing what I was doing was Goldman Sachs. They didn't do it for sale to the outside. They did it internally. What if I told you this, Michael? They only lost money 2 days a year. 2 days a year. How is that possible? How is it possible? Well, how is it possible? I'm going to make it really simple for you. You get a little thing called Aladdin, which is the money manager software for all of the money managers across the country that's owned by BlackRock. And you're able to do this. You get Goldman Sachs, where all of the flow from other brokers is coming in through you. So you bought up all the data, and now you have 30-40% of the flow coming through the market coming to you. You know the direction before you. So how my algorithms would pick up the ability to make money was this: volume spike, unusual in an unusual amount of time, means that there's a buyer there, right? If it goes up on high volume in a short amount of time, it means there's a buyer there. If it goes boom in, it happens, boom, it's in again, it happens, you know that it's probably going to happen again. And now you can watch the pattern of how it happens, and you can follow it and know that there's a huge institutional buyer out there, right? So that's just in one instance. So
so you're able to make money by like reading the movements of essentially like the ruling class, and then sort of, yeah.
So now you take all of that and you say, okay, I'm Mark Zuckerberg. And now every housewife in America is putting up what she had for lunch that day. And you know that on Tuesdays, and I'm just going to make up some nonsense, more chicken is bought on Tuesdays than any other day. And I know that the market in chicken goes up on Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You
now
see?
it's not, yeah, it's
And now-
not just yeah. Okay.
Yes. So it's everything. Now it's
Yes.
not only that, but now that I have what they're telling me, I can now tell them stuff that is in the 80-20 rule. Okay. Okay. Here we go. You ready? You like people who work out, right? But you don't cheat on your wife, right? But now I know that you like to work out, and I'm going to start to show you on your computer things to do with workout. But slowly, I'm going to show you more and more women who are a little bit less stressed each time. And then slowly, I'm going to notice that you're looking at it when I show these girls, right? So now I'm going to make them a little less clothed. And eventually, you all right?
Yeah, I had a cold a little bit earlier, but I was muting the mic so you wouldn't hear me
okay.
coughing.
That's all right. So what I'm saying to you is not only are they making money off of the combined knowledge of everybody's movements, but they're slowly moving the Overton window on everything, everything you could possibly think of. Like, they take every single one of your things and slowly manipulate you in a direction. And I'll say this, right? You like martial arts, right? They're going to move you to a particular brand because they know you like eagles and martial arts. So they're going to move you to the brand of boxing gloves that has eagles on it. You see what it's every single thing you could think of. This is singularity. This is the very thing that they were training me to be a part of. I literally graduated from the college of the master of singularity, which is James Simons.
Interesting. Yeah, and I've heard that Simon's surname before also.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
they're a pretty big family.
How a company that a school that is about science I went to for economics, and suddenly the number one guy in the very thing that I did for a living, him and three other people were my number one competitors in the world. And him and what's his name? The other one from the guy who wrote Singularity is
Ray Kurzweil.
Ray Kurzweil. So listen to this. Kurzweil was my professor for guess what?
Wow.
For guess what? Marxist economics. You cannot find Michael. I went back to look for him teaching there. I can't find it. But he was my favorite teacher.
Insane.
He was my favorite teacher. It was in a big lecture hall. It was the only thing that I liked because I thought he was like I argued with him all the time. And
what was he like?
He was a goof, like crazy hair, like mad scientist, like kind of guy. And I loved him. I thought he was great, but he was a total lunatic because he was a socialist. And so there are get this. My grandparents were at the Son of Sam's bar mitzvah. They were friends with his parents. What is going on, Michael? What is going on?
I can't believe you were a part of something like that. Wait, so how did you transition to that, to like the whole stop the steal thing that you tease out in the, because that sounds like a pretty big like leap from there.
So here's what happened. So the summer of 2020, you saw what was on the news. It was called the Summer of Love. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Like that. Oh my gosh, there was so much going on in my life then that ended up disrupting me. Yeah. It's crazy.
I'm a Jewish-born man who at 16, 17 became a transcendentalist because I read Walden, and then spent a lifetime as sort of like nothing, but I called myself a transcendentalist. Nobody knew what it was but me. And then I didn't even know what it was because I didn't know what the Enlightenment movement was, right? And I just thought it was within its own thing, self-reliance, right? I didn't recognize that it was really part of a esoteric movement, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny because my junior year, it's like they assigned our class like random like early American philosophies. I was assigned Ralph Waldo Emerson and the Transcendentalist movement. So I was exactly the same age you were when you got into it also. And that was like my shtick back when I was a junior too.
So I had quit high school, become a transcendentalist, and thought I was going to be an entrepreneur, and then quickly realized that it wasn't going to be that easy and decided to go back to school and became a good student, right? And well, that summer I'm married with 2 kids who are in high school and just going to college.
Right now?
No, then in 2020.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And they feel like they're Jewish, even though we don't celebrate holidays and stuff like that. We believe we're Jewish. We're never. I'm still Jewish, even though I believe in Christ. I'm still Jewish, and so what winds up happening is I look at the TV and they're saying that the cities are burning, they're looting, and it's Black Lives Matter, and there's this whole thing with George Floyd, and Antifa is attacking, and I'm like, the only people being shown as fighting any one of these guys called the Proud Boys, and I had trained in martial arts for 10 years, and I felt really comfortable, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna email the Proud Boys, and I did. And so I emailed them. They called me back that night. And again, I'll make a long story short and I'll say I went out with them, wound up getting initiated that night. I studied them. I knew everything that was going to happen, everything about them, their history in New York, where the FBI infiltrated them, but I didn't know it at the time. Right. And I go out with them and I wind up starting to run with them in New Jersey and going to all of the things. And we would go up against Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Literally, you're fighting with people in the streets, right? And I wind up going to the first Stop the Steal. I'm taking out a lot of it because I let it go.
I get it. Yeah.
Taking out a lot, but I wind up going down to DC with one guy who his name was Mike. Actually, his name was MAGA King. MAGA King was his nickname. You freaking believe that, Mike? His name was Mike, MAGA King.
Oh, I just choked on water. My
right?
bad. Yeah, I just choked. That went down the windpipe.
So I go there, and that's when I meet this guy. Right?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Overton Report. His name Actually, his name isn't on here. It was like something with a J, Jeremy or Joshua, something like that. So this kid is a independent reporter on the right side who I had met a bunch of them, and I had seen multiple ones at multiple places. It's all the same people, even back in 2020. And I get there and we park in a parking lot. I'm all geared up with a face mask, with a flag, and it's me and this guy, Mike, and we're walking through there, and the liberals, the brown shirts, are circling us and harassing us. We go to the Capitol and we find Stop the Steal. I didn't even know who Stop the Steal was, but there were about 250 people going 7 times counterclockwise around the Capitol, right? Now, I'm not a Christian at this time. I have no idea the significance of it. They're going counterclockwise, which is weird. And now that I know everything I know, well, you okay? You want
Yeah,
to
I
stop?
swallowed
Oh,
water earlier, so
I
yeah.
got you.
Yeah, it made my eyes end up tearing up also. But
So
I mean, you know how water going down the windpipe can be.
yes.
Yeah.
So you
I'm already recovering from a cold too, so it's like kind of compounding a little bit. But no, I'm good. I'm listening. Don't worry about me.
it's okay. So we start walking with them, and what we realize is the brown shirts are taking pictures of us all. And I'm telling everybody around us, you guys don't understand what's going on. You're just regular normies. This is going on all over the country, and you're showing up here thinking you're okay doing this, and they're going to dox you and you're going to have troubles, right? Because I know what's going on in other states. And we walk around with them twice, and I say, you know what? I say to Mike, let's go over to the Washington Monument where everybody was going to meet. So we start walking there, and I run into a guy, Paul Russell Johnson. Him and his family, his wife, this short guy with his wife and his 13-year-old son. So we're walking there, and we get along as we're walking there. We get there, and there's tons of people on the hill going up there on the grass. And I am walking with Mike straight up through all the people, and I didn't know it, but they go around the side, him and his family. Well, all of a sudden, the people at the top of the hill are screaming at us. And the crowd opens up a lane about 20 feet wide to the top of the hill as we're walking up, and all Antifa young kids and Black Lives Matter are screaming at us as we're walking through them. We get to the top, and there's a group of patriots up there standing in a line with the kids, and literally the police are allowing the two sides to scream at each other. And I'm recording the whole thing. People are recording. This guy from the Overton window is up there. So he's interviewing me and Paul Russell Johnson's son. And amazing interview. As they're interviewing me, the patriots point out a bunch of bricks that were brought up, cobblestones, because they were bringing cobblestones all around the country to the places where we were going to be marching for Antifa to beat us with. So the patriots pointed out, it's on the video from this guy, the Overton report, behind me, and I pointed out while I'm pointing to him the guy from Antifa that is harassing us, and me explaining that he was an actual Antifa member on this guy's video. So the police removed those things, and then, oh my God, it got really hairy. The The darkness was coming, and I said to Mike, let's get out of here. We left. Later that night, somebody got shot there in front of the White House. You can't find it on the news. Somebody got shot there. A patriot.
Who was it? Who was it? Do you know the person's name? Was he with the Proud Boys?
No. It was a regular person. Yeah.
Okay, so it was a person who was caught up in the crossfire from. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. 1 second. So Jan 6 is a while ago. It's like more people would recognize this name if this is going on back then. I had to look up who Paul Russell was. Who Paul Russell Johnson was.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. So he was this 35-year-old man from Lenexa, Virginia, who was arrested in connection with January 6th. So he was charged with multiple offenses, including inflicting bodily injury on a U.S. Capitol police officer for obstructing law enforcement and engaging in physical violence and on restricted Capitol grounds. So I just wanted to read that to give a little bit of context on who this guy was, because it's like January 6th is a little bit ago, and it's like you're obviously like you're well known for January 6th, so it's like your audience be more well known for that. So I just wanted to give a little bit of that context. But yeah, you can go ahead and go on if you want to elaborate on him also. And like
Paul was my ride or die. So Paul, I met him that day, and I went to Washington, D.C. a total of 4 times, January 6th being the last time in my life I'll ever have gone there. And he was the only person I went all 4 times with, him and his wife. You see the video of me on January 6th being held hostage in the hotel. That's with him. So that's him and I speaking while the police are outside holding us all in there. So Paul and I met that day. We left. We kept in contact. I introduced him to the Proud Boys and gave him a base of people to go back to Washington with, because he didn't have a crew. So I go back to that was the first week after the election of 2020. And so that's when I met Paul that week. That's when the guy from the Overton Report who recorded me, that recording is gone. It disappeared. I called him up afterwards and I asked him what happened to it. Every other video is there. That one is not there. Why? Of all days you would delete your videos, who asked you to delete that video? No answer, right? So now, the second time going there, I bring about 50 Proud Boys from New Jersey. I'm not one of the leaders yet, but I'm in with the leading crew. They ask us to use Signal to communicate. And I use
the Just for Signal is advertised as like it's highly encrypted and the feds won't be able to read it. I don't know if that's true. I haven't seen anything okay, there you go. Yeah, it's not that. Okay.
So it was a setup, and so I caught them knowing what we were doing before we were doing it. And so when we got back from that one, I told all the guys, nope, sorry. And the president of the Proud Boys of New Jersey, guy by the name of Danny Mack, his nickname was Pace Setter. And then the vice president was a guy by the name of Sean Price. Look up that name while I do it. Sean Price in New Jersey. So, because we're going to come back to all these names. So what winds up happening is I tell them we can't use Signal. Let's get walkie-talkies and let's use them. Right? So we get walkie-talkies, the headsets. We go back. This is December 17th, about something like that. We go back for the final rally in December. Stop the Steal. Everybody is now going nuts this time. This time it's big. And I'm with about 80 guys from New Jersey, PA, and Ohio. We're rolling together, and the rest of the country is all rolling under the Cuban from Miami for the Proud Boys. We stay completely separate. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The first time with them in DC, I was staying in the hotel and was in the spot where the beard guy got stabbed from Antifa in the hotel next to Harry's. And there, I'm sorry, but there was no, it was one of the keys to me knowing something was wrong, was because we were there. We had 1,000, 1,500 of us there. There was no way Antifa was going to be able to make it in there at that right moment without being led there, right? And get away with it, because they got completely away. So the third time there now, when we go there, I am now the bodyguard for the president, Danny. And we are running it like an army, and we are marching, and the other Proud Boys are partying and rallying, while my 50 to 75 guys are marching through the streets looking for Antifa. And so the night before the main night, we go out and we're being led around, and I can tell. We wind up running into a little group of Black Lives Matter Antifa, and we had this one hothead, former, convict in the group, and he was a hothead, and he jumped one of the Antifa people, and it started a riot, and it was insane. The police were scared. I face off versus this black kid who was taller than me. He was probably 19 years old, maybe even less. And he wanted to fight me. And I looked at him. There was a cop between us. And I said, don't even think about it. I'm telling you, don't do it. And he didn't know it, but I had a taser on him. And I said to the cop, I'm like, stop him from what he's about to do. He's going to get hurt. The police officer was like scared, held him off, and the kid started crying. And I got the heck out of there. That was the first night. Then the rally happened the next night, and I freaking knew. And I come back from it, and I have a meeting with Danny, and I say, Danny, tell me, are you an informant? We were being tracked. And he goes, yes. I've been on the FBI payroll for 2 years. I get $2,000 a month. And I help them to catch Antifa. I go, Danny, you're not helping them capture Antifa. You're a drunk convict, and they are using you to rally blue collar men in New Jersey for some reason, right? Stop it. Tell everyone, come out and stop, right? He says, nope, he's going on, right? I go into the Telegram chat, December 21st, 2020, 200 men in that chat all know what I'm telling you is the truth, that I said, Danny is an FBI informant. He told me. It blows up. They kick him out. Little did I realize it, but there were other FBI people embedded. So they just moved the ball. I told everybody I was quitting. Nobody knew who I was. I was undercover. And so I just disappeared. I decide that I'm going to go to J6 anyway. My wife is livid, livid. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like, honey, I'm telling you, I got to go. I don't know why. I just got to go. So I set up with, so here's what happens. And I don't think anybody's heard this story on a video before, but what happened was I was connecting new people into the group, and there was this group of guys in New Jersey who were pretty tough. The other Proud Boys weren't tough. They weren't. This group was tough, and they were trying to get in on our group. For some reason, Danny wouldn't let them. And so I tried to connect the two, and Danny shut them down. Well, these guys wind up going on the side and creating a group called the Sons of Liberty with a black flag and a tree in it. I wind up, when I left them, I was still friends with them. I call them up and I said, look, I'm going down there. Let's just go in the same hotel just in case, right? But I'm not going with anybody. I'm going nothing, right? So I was in the same hotel with them. So was Paul Russell Johnson with his wife. We get down there. It's January 5th. And by the way, each time we drove down there, Antifa were in cars next to us coming from New York to DC. So we're in a convoy going down as the Proud Boys with Antifa going down right next to us, all in a convoy. I'm taking pictures of them. I mean, this is crazy, right? This is crazy world. And so January 5th, it was a madhouse. The people, we had a rally at Freedom Plaza, and it was a setup by Ali Alexander, all those people, all of them, right? You're muted right now, by the way. And so
You're good. I thought you were saying Ali instead of Ollie, so I'm like, oh, I haven't heard the name Ollie before. Let me look. Then I was like,
yeah.
Oh wait, no, I know
Ali
that
Alexander.
Okay, let me just say Ali Alexander. For those of you who know, like, because you might remember, like my audience might be a little less tuned into January 6th. That's the guy who was organizing Stop the Seal. He got very big on Twitter, very big on Telegram, and there was a lot of show about like this fake opposition against him. So it's like looks like he's not actually a Fed, but he's really a Fed. Like they will stage opposition. Like another example, like Ali Alexander's friends Nick Fuentes. No one needs me explaining who Nick Fuentes is. He's that big right now, but he was buddies with Nick Fuentes, but like. Yeah, like Nick Fuentes was supposedly debanked, but he's never had any trouble getting what he needs. That's another example. Like they will set up like minor inconveniences for agents, then they'll have it on blast, use that to legitimize them. So yeah, I just want to point out that dynamic. Oh yeah, one more thing. You said for me to look up Sean Price. So so he was. Are you talking about the rapper hip hop guy?
No. Sean
okay,
Price,
he didn't even come up on. But you said he wanted to come back.
Look him up.
So
Sean Price, New Jersey, arrest, and it'll come up.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and go on. I can go ahead and interject next time. Yeah,
he was the vice president. He became the president when the informant got fired.
And that's Danny, right?
That's Danny.
Yeah,
case setter.
Yeah. Is Danny a news reports also, or do they keep this pretty hush-hush?
One report from Reuters, his name is mentioned, and that's it.
All right, that's not too surprising. I'm surprised CIA, like Reuters, is about as CIA as it gets, so I'm kind of surprised they even included that.
It's because it got out there, and I got it the first day it was out because somebody gave it to me, and once it was out, they couldn't hide it anymore. Because I blasted it all over the place.
And this is on Truth Social needed that, right?
Yeah.
When did you get kicked off Truth Social?
Because when I went after the infiltrators and they knew I had them.
Oh, yeah.
cold,
That was
they-
that was still early 2021 then, because I
Yeah.
remember you telling me that story. Yeah.
They
Okay.
they-
Okay.
they all reported me for doxing, and so here's what I did. I own, unfortunately, 8,000 shares of Donald J. Trump, and I called up investor relations, and I said, listen to me. I'm an investor in the company, and I'm an institutional investor who knows how the game is played. I am telling you that I got incorrectly doxed off of here, and I'm going to not only sell your stock, but I'm going to make it a point to get everybody to sell it, and I'm going to out you guys for what you're doing here. And if you take part in this, know that I got you with them because I recorded everything. And simultaneously, when I did that, I told the guy, George, I told him, you talk to your people at Truth Social. If they don't get me back on very shortly, I'm going to go after them legally. And you're included. And boom, next thing you know, the next day I'm on again. And
Are you still on there?
I am, but
Okay.
seriously, like what I call it is I'm in a silo. Meaning,
There's no way Andrew Torba doesn't know who you are by now. There's no way. So he's probably in on it.
yeah, definitely. I mean, they all are. They all
Yeah.
are.
Mhm.
So wait, we were
You were
January 6th.
explaining who Sean was, because when I tried looking him up, I got the
Yep.
wrong person. And then you're on the lead up to January 6th and
Yep.
January 5th. And
So
you got past Danny being outed. Yeah.
we're gonna come back to Sean because Sean Price getting arrested is one of my serious Jesus moments.
So you'd consider Sean Price to be authentic and not like with the feds, right?
He is authentic and he's not with the feds.
Okay.
For 100%. Actually, Paul Russell Johnson, I'm not so sure.
Interesting.
It's one of two things with Paul. Is either he is, I told him I got his back in the end and I will show up for him in that last moment, no doubt, right? But that being said, is he's doing one of two things. Is he's either protecting his family and is doing what he's got to do, or he was always a Fed and he was setting me up, which is the more likely scenario now.
Damn.
So, and I hate to say that, Paul, if you're watching it, because I really hope not. But so here's what happens is I go to January 6th, that 5th, I'm at the hotel, and right around the corner, so we're in the Hilton, right around the corner from the White House. It's also right around the corner from Black Lives Matter Plaza. So right across the street from the hotel, there's a Five Guys. I'm walking by the Five Guys, and all of a sudden I see there's a white prison bus with two police cars surrounding it, pulling up in front, and all of a sudden Antifa's getting out of the blacked out white bus. And I'm saying on a video, I start recording and I'm saying, warning everybody, Antifa, Antifa coming off the bus. So you hear me in the video saying it. I take a picture of the bus, but I don't get anything else in that, right? They were shipping in Antifa and Black Lives Matter from Baltimore on shifts to man Black Lives Matter Plaza, and I caught them doing it.
I just want to interject for a second. Like Baltimore is like the headquarters for a lot of mafias. It's also the headquarters for the FBI. Like Charles Bonaparte was like one of the heads. Because remember, the Bonaparte family stayed relevant after Napoleon. They were like the heads of the Corsican mafia. So Corsican Mafia in a lot of ways created the FBI. They had a lot of overlap, and they colluded through like military and monastic orders associated with the Catholic Church. So like literally the feds are an extension of organized crime, and that's who's running our government too. It's so illegitimate, and they'll go after small level criminals and also create pretexts to go after innocent people because they're the continuation of the Inquisition. Like,
yes.
And Baltimore is the headquarters for that. So
Nancy Pelosi's dad.
Baltimore is even called the New Vienna, and the Inquisition was like headed by Habsburgs when they were the monarchs of Spain. And also, it was through the Franciscan Dominican orders, but Habsburg was definitely involved with that. And that's also how the Jesuit order was being protected when they were being created, because like they were Almenbrados, they were the Illuminati. So like they had to have protection from Habsburg and Borgia to be able to make it where they did. But yeah, Baltimore is called the like New Vienna even. So yeah, it's I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, you can go ahead. Yes. You can go ahead and go on. Yeah.
So they have a rally at this square, right? And they have garbage, big dump trucks blocking off everything to keep everybody safe, supposedly. And all these guys, including, I did not know who Nick Fuentes was at the time. I knew who Raleigh was.
I didn't either.
And all of these people, what's his name? The Screamer, Jones,
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Yeah. He's a Fed too.
All of them are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Roger Stone. So I have these videos all close up. I'm in the first row here of them enraging everybody. Wait till I show you the videos. I have it right here. I could show you. So they're enraging the whole crowd, telling them basically to attack tomorrow. Don't let it go through. We've got to get Pence. Right? So they were setting us all up. So it wasn't Trump that did it. It was them. So the next day comes, right? The next day comes and we go to the rally, but they announced that they've fenced it off and you shouldn't go in there with anything because they're going to pat you down. So I leave everything at the hotel and I just go like a regular guy and I go watch the rally. It was amazing. What an amazing 2 million people there. They still don't claim there were. There were 100%. It was amazing. So I have video of Paul Russell Johnson and me and a whole group of people with that's the
no, I remember that. Yeah. I'm looking up the rally. No, you're good. I might not even comment on
there's this huge flag, like 50 by 100 feet, and it pulls over the whole crowd. It's the most beautiful thing ever. It was amazing. So I'm right by where those guys are up in the tree watching the show, if you saw that on the TV, right? And so I decide that we're going to leave early. We left the rally an hour early. And Paul and his wife and their two friends, a husband and wife, decide that they're going to go forward and go to the rally, go to the Capitol. And I said, I am not going there without my gear because I had a flak jacket, I had a helmet, I had.
Well, it's smart. I just wanted to say I commend you. No, not only that for the walkie-talkies. I just want to say that like. Okay, so like I talked to my church elders and stuff about possibilities for either EMPs or geomagnetic incursions, and I actually like they have teams on standby ready to like hand out like battery powered walkies to vulnerable people, knowing where they're located in case of situation like that. Because you know, like I just want to point out, like, you can't trust smartphones. You cannot trust that. Like any application whatsoever, even if you pull it up. Let's say you have a VPN, then you also pull up a Tor browser on top of that. In your Tor browser, you pull up Signal as a URL, not using that's still not safe. Like, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
by the way, we skipped over in December when the truckers were raising money. The Canadian truckers were using Signal to raise money. I jumped back into Signal to get involved in that. They blocked me out. The feds knew I would know. And I
That's
got
crazy.
blocked out of the whole thing. I'm saying something's wrong. What do you know? 2 weeks later, all the money gets stolen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought of something with like that kind of level of acts. My phone has been heating up and running out of battery. I'm pretty sure that's because they're spying.
They're in on it. That's probably what it is. Yeah.
It's probably what. Yeah. Yeah. So guys, if your
here's the
phone, I was going to say, if your phone heats up and drains a battery fast, and like you have like 90% Apple batteries, there's a good chance you're being spied on.
And you know why you are? Because you're hitting on the esoteric numbers. You're even deeper than I am as far as your historical knowledge of the esoteric involvement in history.
I've been trying to step back. I've been stepping back from naming contemporary people also because I've actually gotten threats and direct messages from like Reddit and stuff from people like that.
So,
but I just want to say it wasn't worded like a threat. It wasn't worded like a threat. Like it was like, you are very brilliant. It's like, you are very brilliant. You really know what you're talking about. I commend you for your research. But by the way, this person you're talking about is dead, and you should respect the dead because it's disrespect. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to disrespect the dead. All right, I'll back up because it's like, but when this happened, my address got pinged. So it's like, and it was pinged from Turkey where this mafia boss was like had a base at. So like, yeah, whoever.
So
I don't.
It's like when I met, look up this name, Dan Strack, Strack. You're muted. So,
oh, my bad. Yeah, I just pulled him up. Yeah,
that was the guy who ran Project Veritas.
No.
When I met him,
he's not coming up.
Danny Strack, Project Veritas.
Yeah.
Okay. So I met him up at Huddy's of all places, Huddy's Tavern. The name.
Yeah, and you were talking about that
earlier. The name of the guy that they killed. That was the Patriot, right? So I met him up there, and I transferred a bunch of stuff from a hard drive to him to prove my case to him, right? We spent about an hour and 40 minutes there. We really get along, so I had a good time with him, right?
Yeah, and this is still 2021, right?
He put a bug on my thing.
By the way, I just want to say, because you were, I thought I was over that. My bad. There's a little, okay. I'm good now. So you brought up earlier how people will try to get in your good graces by sending you information and stuff. Okay, so I don't want to name names because it might not be safe, but I know someone who I'm pretty close to who had their account backdoor access where he didn't answer someone's DMs and stuff, but he clicked on links from this guy and his chat was opened and he ended up following this guy back and never actually authorized it. And he had other shady things go on. And that was from clicking links. So like it can be just a bunch of links to mundane seeming websites, like even Wall Street Journal or Reuters or something. And that can be loaded with viruses. I don't want to name it. Maybe I'll call this guy out later, but because he has a pretty well-known account on Twitter, but I want to play it safe right now. But I'm just saying, like, that's very common.
So this guy lives by me, by the way. He's a friend of mine who lives by me. He won't touch me with a 10-foot pole right now because he knows I've got his number, that he's Knights Templar fucking nonsense motherfuckers. But excuse me, but
No, you're good.
He's
These
somebody
people
who
suck. These people are
he's-
douchebags.
he's somebody who really pisses me off because he's my friend and he's doing it to me. You know what I mean? It's a whole different ball game, and I'll kick his ass. So you know, Danny.
Well, that's a mask. He might be your friend, but he got there from wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was never authentic on his end. It was authentic on your end, so that makes it hurt more. But like, that's puts it in perspective a little bit.
He so why did I come back to that? I came back to that because so let's take you back to January 6th a second, and then I'll be able to come back to Danny and how that plays into
Danny
the whole
Shack,
thing.
not the one who was arrested, who may or
Yes.
may not be a Fed. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought that I was going to be able to come out from Danny and blow up the whole thing. He was literally there to delete the data. He was literally there to delete the data. So he winds up, his real reason for being there was to fire James. He was the one who caused the confusion on the board and got him ousted. And I call up Danny and I go, how you got to stop, Danny. You don't know what you're getting involved in. Here I am. I think he doesn't know what he's getting involved in, and he's the one directing it for whatever forces wanted to come in there and destroy Project Veritas. But here's the thing. Project Veritas, he's already a Knights of Malta. So I'm thinking,
that's what I was saying earlier, where it's rings and rings. So it's like they will give beneficiaries to people in like mid-level rings, but then when their job becomes obsolete, sometimes they'll have to get screwed over.
It's so unbelievable. So now, January 6th. So the 5th happens. We go to bed, go to this thing January 6th, right? I go back to the hotel, grab all my stuff. I go to show up, and I see that they had broken the line and they're on the thing. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but that was the breach. My guy, Paul Russell Johnson, is one of the Samsel 7. Do you know who the Samsel 7 are?
No.
I told you this before.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Ryan Samsel is the number one guy they went after for January 6th.
Oh,
he was one of the 7 people who pushed that metal gate back.
No, I even heard about this before I ever met. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that rings a bell now. Yeah, because they were pretty big in the news, actually. Yeah,
7 people had their hands on this gate as it moved back towards the stairs, and that female officer fell to the ground on the stairs and hurt her foot. That was assault on the police officer, on a federal officer. They all got charged with that. They were all up for 20 years. In April, his house got raided. So here I am, January 6th. I'm going to fast forward. January 6th happens. I'm fucking now freaked out that the FBI is going to come to my house. They're raiding everyone's homes. And I'm like, that's it. They're coming, honey. We just got to be prepared for it, right? She's flipping livid at me. And nobody comes. Somebody raids Paul. 50 guys raid his house, lasers on his 7 kids. He gets taken away for a few days, comes back and has an ankle bracelet and is on house arrest. He runs a tree business, trimming business, and a farm on his property. Can't leave. I get him on the phone and I say to him, Paul, I'm just letting you know, I recorded everything. They're listening to our phone right now. You go to your lawyer and you tell him, you ask for the meeting and you say, Mark is going to come with the goods. This is what we've got, right? Well, 3 days later, ankle bracelet off. He's off house arrest. This is a guy who's up for 20 years. No different than the other 6 people, right?
At the very least, he struck a deal. That's the very least.
Well, and the very least they got worried about me and decided to strike a deal with him, right?
Yeah.
Right. So now he says that he found Jesus, like me. I found Jesus that same the week after. That's a whole other story, but we'll come back to that. So he tells me he found Jesus and the church is helping him fight here. I said, okay, but when you go into the court, call me because I'm coming and we're good. You're good. You're not going to have any problems here. Well, he slowly backs away from me. Suddenly we're in a year and a half out and he's gone, just gone. I'm like, I guess he just doesn't want to deal with it at all anymore. I call him up one day and he goes, "Who's this?" And I go, "What? This is Mark. What are you talking about?" "Oh, I got a new phone. Your name wasn't." "No way. You don't know anybody else in 732 in New Jersey?" "No." You knew exactly who it was. So another 6 months go by. I call him up and I go, "Paul, I'm going to ask you one question. You answer yes or no, and then we're done. I'll see you at the end. Are you on an NDA?" "Yes." Got it. Hung up. I haven't spoken to him ever since. And that was the year before Trump won again right now. Trump goes, it's that year, last year, it was, they were negotiating a settlement. They negotiated settlements. The Ryan Samsel got 20 years. Another guy got 20 years. The three other guys, right? Three other guys got like 5 years, 5 or 10. Paul Russell Johnson, nothing.
Yeah.
He got what is it called when you're on, probation? He got 5 years probation. Wait a second. You all went up. Why is the only guy who got off, the guy I know, the guy who I know I can get off, why did he get off? And so this was the month before the election. They settled for that. Well, Trump wins and pardons them all. Disappeared story. Gone. No need to deal with the story ever again. They're pardoned. Who cares? Right? They're disappearing the story. So now here's where we come back to Paul Price.
Sean Price.
Sean Price.
Yeah.
So 6 months out, and I'm like, fuck, they're just not coming. They don't want anything to do with my story. They're just going to disappear it, right? We're good. I come out on Truth Social. I'm out again, letting everybody know, right? And June comes, the end of June, and I was a Christian since the week after January 6th, going every week from there on in. I would go. I would go to Bible study, prayer, and really in on it. And he was speaking to me every night between 4 and 5 in the morning. And that was my hour. And this one night in June, at the end of June, I wake up and I'm bugged out. And I'm like, oh, the FBI's coming here, lasers. They're coming, right? I go out onto my porch like I would in the morning to go work in the summer. And I said, that's it. I'm going to go to the police station. I'm going to tell them the FBI's coming here. When they come, they're going to come to the police station first. We're a little town. They're going to ask you about me, and then they're going to come over. Before they come over, you say to them, Mark said you were going to come here. He said to call him up and he'll come into the station so you don't have to raid his house and scare his family. And that's all I wanted to do, right? So I show up at the police station, local, 1 square mile town. Everybody knows everybody, right? I ask for the chief. Chief's not here. They say, you want to speak to a detective? I said, sure. Young detective. Spent an hour and 40 minutes with him, telling him everything I just told you. And I said to him, what do you want to do? I don't know. I'm not the police. I'll do whatever you want. You tell me, right? I leave. Nothing. A month, nothing. No response, no nothing. Right? So I come back in a month later and I do exactly the same thing, except this time I get the sergeant. And look, here's my dog. And then so I here's the thing. That morning that I woke up, that June, go look up the arrest date of Sean Price.
All right, doing that.
Because that's the day. And I think it was June like 28th or something.
Oh my gosh. Okay, there's I got one from that's Sean Price. That's an Australian who was arrested in 2015. Then the rapper in 2026. Then former college football player in 2013, but not the January 6th one. That's
so weird. SEAN.
But they're trying. It's because they're trying to erase it. That's why. Like I have to be more specific.
They flood it. They flood it. Whatever it is, they flood it. That's why.
Okay, there we go. June 8th, 2021. There we go. Yeah, he came up.
So it wasn't the 28th,
but it's like they're clearing out. They're memory holing the story, and part of it's because like people will only look at what the AI search result says, and it didn't come up in the AI search result. I had to be more specific. So yeah, they're actively trying to memory hole all of this.
All of this.
Yeah.
So that same morning, at the same exact moment, I bugged out and went to the police station that the FBI was going to raid my house with lasers. I got it right, except I got the wrong house. It was his house. They raided him with 52 officers with lasers on it. And so this is the crazier part. You ready for this? 7 months I haven't talked to one Proud Boy. Nobody knows who I am, where I am, right? I go to my phone. I look up Danny's text. I go, I'm going to text him. And I text, they are coming. That's it. They are coming. And I see somebody texting back, which never happens because he's on a burner phone. Guess what he says back?
What did you say?
I know. What?
Well,
what?
Yeah, he's probably inside of it. Yeah.
No. It's worse than that.
All right.
It's Jesus. He knew because at the very same time I went to the police station was the raid. He raided his best friend's house, Sean Price's house, at the very same time I showed up at the police station claiming they were about to raid my home 7 months later after having spoken with no one. How is that possible?
That definitely sounds like Providence right there. Yeah, I
That's
think
it.
so. Yeah.
100%.
Providence.
And so now I'm going to take you to this. So I wind up.
It says Joseph. I can't make out the last name.
Hold on.
It's covered up by your coat of
Yeah.
arms back there. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to get it good for you.
It's Joseph Sotak. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a sheriff who works for the sheriff of what's been around here for 20 years. And his name is Golden, Sean Golden. And they have been hiding me since the beginning because I knew Sean Golden and I sent it to him in the very beginning. And they're all lying. And now I recorded them receiving the data and lying about it. And I've recorded it everywhere. Then, come 2023, guess who finally shows up at my door?
Who?
I sign back on to the new X and I put up one post. Guess who shows up at my door?
Which one?
That day.
The same guy from the police department you just showed? Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. New one.
Wait. It's not showing up. Hold on. U.S. Department of Justice, Heather. I can't read the last name.
Heather Hilton.
Heather Hilton. All right. Oh, all right.
Special Agent Heather Hilton from the FBI.
Damn. Yeah. So you have glad you're showing the business cards because like that sounds like pretty far out their claims, but that means that you came in contact with them. So,
yep.
Kudos to you for that.
They came to my house. I was again out on the front porch, so I put my dogs away and I invite them up onto the porch. They say no. They're here with one of my local police. I get all excited because I think they're coming to save the day. And I'm about to give them all of it. Nope. I offer it to them and they leave without it. I tell them to go to the police station and watch the video that they recorded of me the year before. And they'll know everything. Nope. Zippo. Nothing. Never come back. Nothing. So what do? That was in November of 23. Well, my friend calls me and tells me Trump is having a gala at Cipriani's in New York and invites me to go, sends me an invite. She's on the Young Republicans of New York City. And so I go look up, how much is it? $1,400 a ticket. And I go, what? Why would she send me this when they're that much money? And then I say, you know what? I'm going to buy my wife a present for the holidays and we're going to this thing. I'm going to get a tuxedo and I'm going. And here's the reason. You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I don't want. So I haven't eaten dinner yet, and I want to keep this. I want to keep this going a little bit longer, but it's like I gotta eat before I go to bed. So that's why I don't want the clutter in the kitchen to interrupt what you're saying.
Okay. I'm getting thirsty too. So I'm going. The reason I want to go is because I truly feel that if I look somebody in the face, shake their hand, I'll know whether they've got a demonic entity attached to them, essentially, right? And so that's my purpose in going. And I write a letter, and I'll show you the letter, a one-page letter, and I put it in an envelope with my logo back there on the front of it. Well, we go there, we go into the VIP room, my wife and I, in a tuxedo, she's in a dress, the nines. I mean, my wife's smoking. So, we're drawing a lot of attention in the VIP room already, but I'm saying hello to everybody, shaking everybody's hand purposefully, right? Well, Matt Getz is standing there with Secret Service around him. I come walking up to him with my wife next to me, show him the letter, go, Matt, I want you to get your eyes on this later. I'm going to be handing this to Trump. He freaks out on me We literally almost go to fists for no reason. The Secret Service does nothing. My wife's standing there going, what the hell? We back off a couple of feet, stand there talking, and then I move away. We go back to having a normal night. And to make a long story again short, we're at the table. Everybody's giving speeches. I'm clapping, standing up, having a good time. Suddenly, Trump comes on. I'm recording. Secret Service taps me on the shoulder and asks me to leave. I go, I look at him and I go, I'm not going anywhere. I spent $2,800 to watch my president speak, and he just hit the stage. You can talk to me afterwards. He goes, Mark, are you here to hurt Trump? And I said, what? You know exactly who I am. There's no way you let me in here without knowing who I am with, 600 other people. I said, take this letter. The last 4 guys I asked to take the letter wouldn't take it, but you're going to take it. He goes, I can't take it. I go, what if this letter says I'm going to hurt Trump? He takes the letter out of my hand. And he goes, walks over to the side, hands off the letter, and stands there and watches me the rest of the night until we left. We leave there. That was Friday night. Monday, I get a call from my wife. My wife's pissed. Secret Service called, left her a message with a number to call back. They want information. I call back Secret Service, say, why are you calling my wife? They were like, we need verification. Something's not wrong with you, that you're okay. I go, stop it. Did you read the letter? And she goes, yes. Did Trump read the letter? Yes. Okay. Well, then what are you doing calling to ask my wife if Mark has gone crazy? Are you kidding me? Stop with this already. So we know now that they read the letter. They know what I did, what I'm looking to do with him. And they're going to cut that out for us. You know that.
I mean, I say if you want to send just clip out just the beginning part where you have the intro, and I think we should go for posting that, because I'll do it on my channel. If you don't want to take the risk on yours, that's fine. But like, hey, I think it's valuable information.
Yeah, I will clip out my name before I send it to you. I'll just
got it. Got it. Sounds
so
good.
What hour are we at? So that way I know exactly where to go to.
It was between 3 minute and 25.
325. Okay.
325 and 326.
All right.
Yeah.
So, after all this, Mike, I'm embarrassed to say that no one has gotten fooled more than me. No one. And here's the reason, is because I got involved for it. You know what I mean? I put myself at risk, whereas everybody else got fooled, but they didn't do anything with the fool. I actively engaged trying to help resolve a situation of what is effectively 2 court jesters making up an argument. I decided to get involved to stop them from arguing. Meanwhile, they have no intent in stopping. It's all for show. You know what I'm saying?
So why do you think they decided to really go after the MAGA side hardcore instead of the liberal side?
Well, because we're the people who we have the guns. We have the guns.
Well, okay, yeah, and it makes sense because it's like the liberals would already be on side with the whole like cosmopolitan monoculture they want to roll out, where it's like you still got a lot of like nationalist, historicist sentiments over on the so-called right side, but they still need to even though they're both like still two sides dialectic, that's still poses more loose ends for the hierarchy.
And
yeah.
you know what? And listen to this too, because of less emotion, right? It's very easy to get the left out into the street. Very easy. For anything, right?
And also to get them on like subscription service instead of ownership, and because it's like that's how neo-feudalism is pretty much going to be like the logic of subscription services, but applied to like all dimensions of life. So yeah, like the so-called right, the people in it, because like it's like the right's kind of like a nameless, faceless, abstract category. It's like we're talking about people, so that's why I don't really like those categories. But the people under that umbrella generally are going to be more opposed to something like that. So that's also probably why it's going on.
And they're not going, like, we're much more logical. We're recognizing that it's not really a moment where we can effectuate change, right? That we're not at a critical moment where anything we do can make a difference. However, once we recognize that moment, we're ready and willing to go out and do it with a gun, which they like even more. Because while we won't go out in every instance, when we do go out, we'll cause some real fucking havoc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the left just causes mayhem, will actually cause death.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
So it's really, it's so frustrating to deal with, because both you and I, being believers, we know that the answer doesn't lie in the physical. It's like beyond the capability of humans to come up with a solution here.
Exactly. I've been having people saying, oh, why aren't you giving solution? It's like, well, first you need to diagnose the problem, but it's like, it has to be done through a Christian worldview. And right now, like, all the truthers are pretty much like crypto Gnostics and Hermeticists and what, like, just look at Alex Jones and like, David Icke and people like that. Like they're all new agers. So like whenever truth is being presented, it's being presented through the lens of like untrue worldviews. So it's like, to be able to have a solution, it's like you have to be able to frame everything with like an accurate worldview. And from believing perspectives, it has to be framed through scripture. And that's what I try to do. And I'd say that's how for those of you who think I'm onto something, that's how I got as far as I am from trying to conform my understanding of history and geopolitics to those categories. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
We're going a long time here. We're 3.5 hours. It doesn't feel like it, does it? I could talk a lot.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm noticing the time. It's like I'm hungry and I gotta eat, because it's like I gotta wake up for work at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and it's already like almost 10 where I'm at.
Yep, me too.
Yeah.
So we'll take off for the night, but I hope that this helps you in your, fitting all this into the puzzle of how you think things are going to play out from this point on, because I really appreciate your work on X, because I don't see really but a handful of people doing it. And to the level of which you're doing it, I would say that amount of heads doing that is much, much smaller. I would say in the less than a dozen range, your ability is within for, people within our space. I would say that you're in the top dozen, believe it or not.
I appreciate that.
I watch a lot. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I appreciate that.
Kudos to you.
I mean, I try to focus on like meta level now, because like it's easy to get stuck in the details. Like because like people try and ask me, it's like, what happened on 9/11? It's like, well, I have some ideas, but I don't really talk about it because there's so many details there I don't know, and it's like it's not really as relevant. It's like all you got to know is that like there's some kind of economic aims or whatever, and just broad like agenda items that are associated with it. It's like you can know it's a conspiracy, but then once you start going like which hierarchy is involved here, which hierarchies, it gets it's like there's answers for all of those, but it's just such a convoluted mess to untangle. And you got to get into a little bit of Afghanistan history, got to get into a little bit of Iraq history. It's just like,
Yeah.
I don't, it's like, all right, well, how much time do I have to get into all that? Because all of those are like topics that would take like 100 or more hours to understand properly. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Everything is interconnected. Everything.
Yeah.
But you know what? I break things down to a few specific moments.
That's what I try to do. Yeah. Yeah.
And to where people are going to have an easier time seeing. So my big thing, right? And it's another familial connection, is Drexel Burnham Lambert. So
Interesting.
that is the moment at which the modern day monetary system was stolen from us, besides moving away from the gold standard, besides the formation of the Federal Reserve. Those two things, the next thing would be that is, they're putting mechanisms in place in order to steal from us, and using people and rewarding them right in front of our faces, and we have the inability to see it. I've been trying to use it as a way to show everybody that this isn't the only time that it's happened, but it's very clear. And I'm going to show you really quickly, right? Look up Drexel Burnham Lambert on Wikipedia.
Drexel
Burnham Lambert. And then I want you to share your screen after you do that.
How do I share the screen?
Yep.
How do I do that?
The thing that goes present. See the little plus sign that says present below your window?
Yes.
So after you find the Wikipedia, I want you to share your screen.
Is it? Do you see it?
Nope, not yet.
Drexel Burnham Lambert share.
I'll look it up too.
No, I got it. Is it showing?
Oh, let me look. Yeah, actually, watch.
Okay,
now
cool.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
So now what I want you to do is go down and go to, why isn't this full screen? Oh, there we go. Go down to former employees. See on the left, it says former employees. Just click that and it'll take you right there. Okay.
All right.
Start at the top. So move it down a little bit.
Nigel Farage. Nigel.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Leon Black, Apollo Management, Abby Joseph Cohn, Mark Faber. Look at the names, dude.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
I want you to see something. Look at the name right in the middle of the screen right now. This is insane.
Milken, is that the guy involved with the Milken Institute?
Yes, but
gosh, yeah.
Guess who pardoned him?
Who?
Donald Trump.
Interesting.
You know why he pardoned him? They said cancer. No.
Bunch of BS. Yeah.
They're all in on it. And you know where the connection goes back to?
Who?
Oh, look who's down there. Rick Santilli, by the way, CNBC. So here's the connection. Who's Donald Trump's son-in-law?
Jared Kushner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where Jared Kushner come from?
Who?
His father. His father was the equivalent of Donald's father in New Jersey. Okay? All right? Now, Here's what happens. His father is involved with these guys, gets in trouble. Something happens and he gets framed. And almost sent to jail for like having his wife killed or something, right? So he goes to jail. He's the fall guy. His son, who's 22, gets the company and decides that he's going to move the business to Manhattan. And he liquidates assets and buys a building in Manhattan. Guess what he bought?
Which one?
The number one most expensive building ever sold in Manhattan. And for the next 15 years, it was the most expensive building. He paid 30% too much for the building, but got the approval for everything. Guess what building it was?
Which one?
666 Fifth Avenue. Guess what its history is?
I haven't heard of it.
So this is my proprietary research. Nobody else knew this but me until I put it out. And so everybody knows it now that the 666 building changed to 660. But
same thing. Okay, Lucius Trust and the United Nations building were 666 UN Plaza, but it's now 866.
Yes. Guess where I lived?
Where?
Tudor City, overlooking the UN. That's where my apartment was, in the Cloister building, which was where they shot the movie where a nuclear bomb is being set off in Manhattan, and it's right in that building. In the lobby is where it is. I lived there, dude. And so
that's wild. Yeah.
It's where I met my wife. So I was living there when I met my wife. So what was I saying to you? So where was I?
You were talking about Jared Kushner.
Oh,
and yeah, his involvement with Drexel. Yeah.
So crazy, right? So he buys the building, changes it to 660, redoes the whole building, and then sells it. However, it doesn't have a 13th floor. No buildings in New York have a 13th floor. Guess what? They used to. Back when they were smaller buildings, they would have a 13th floor. But guess what? Originally on that lot was another building, and that building had 13 floors. And before that building, there was another home there. Guess whose home it was? It was John Jacob Astor's home.
Interesting. Yeah.
So now, Astor was the original, in my estimation, the head of the Illuminati here in New York. And he owned the Merovingians, the Loyalists out of Staten Island. He bought the highest peak to put a cemetery for his family on it in Staten Island, and it's still there to this day, and I've been there. And the mob, all the mob and all of the politicians in New York bury themselves there. Why that one? Why that cemetery? Right?
Yeah.
So, wait a second. So, him and his family lived there, and then they built a building that was 13 floors, and then there's no more buildings with 13 floors, and you build a building on it that's called 666 for the next 70 years until Jared Kushner decides he's going to change his convict father's business and move it from New Jersey to Manhattan and buy this building and pay 30% more than he should have for it and still make money.
Yeah.
What is going on? Dude, there's a there's a portal in that building on the 13th floor or the 14th floor. That is actually the 13th floor. In my opinion, that's what these people are doing. There are portals for the underworld or for these dimensions that you were talking about with the circles. You know what I mean? There's something we don't know that they are going after. So here's another coincidence. I stayed at maybe 3 hotels in Manhattan in my entire life. One of them is the New Yorker Hotel. And I may have even stayed on the 33rd floor. I'm not sure. And you know that is where Tesla lived when he died. I have a special dig of which nobody knows about Tesla, so here's the deal with Tesla. Tesla was destroyed 3 times over by JP Morgan. JP Morgan was his benefactor. So was John Jacob Astor. John Jacob Astor was his first benefactor, and then JP Morgan took over for that. But what people don't realize is that JP Morgan said that he was saving Tesla by bailing him out multiple times, but in actuality, he took all of his patents. And so JP Morgan destroyed Tesla, period. And John Jacob Astor probably died via in my estimation, he sacrificed himself. He was a warlock, and they believe in blood sacrifice. And I mean, I want you to think about it. What kind of billionaire is on a sinking ship, sends his wife off and every other woman and child first? Who is that? Who with that much of an ego would ever do that? No one. No one. There's not one other person in history. There's no way that's the truth. If he actually died, he did it on purpose. Either that or he disappeared himself. And here's what you don't know is that in my other research is I found why they sunk that ship there. And they sunk that ship. It wasn't it wasn't that it may have been also that they switched it. It was the Olympic and they were doing it for the insurance, right? But there was a 7 planetary alignment, and that was the spot. It was a human sacrifice.
Well, also, it's like a lot of those guys, because like JP Morgan also like crashed the economy with the Rockefeller in 1907, then bailed it out. People will say, oh, look, JP Morgan saved the American economy. It's like, well, that was an orchestrated crisis. And then it was pretty much to create demand for the Federal Reserve. Like, oh my gosh, we had to have these billionaires intervene. So why not have an institution that can do that? So, but then the people on the Titanic are the ones opposing that. So I think it's another part of it.
It is another part of it, but nobody would ever make these connections because nobody would have looked for this stuff if I hadn't been divinely given it by God, as well as, also, my partner at the time who passed away, who I really truly believe these witches killed. And by doing a Christ oil rise, they convinced us to do something that we didn't understand. We thought we were doing just it's good to fast. God, it says it to fast. Read your Bible and fast. And so we did it, but we had these witches telling us a certain way to do it. And I think she got offed effectively. Yeah. And And how I can say that is, you know, the only other person that had this happen to them was somebody who I know was demonically possessed when he died. And he had yep, and let me go back to full screen here. Whoops. And so black goo came out of every orifice. Same thing with Lori. When she, you know, she had black goo coming out of her. And, you know, what that is, I don't know. But it only happened in 2 instances, and it was that I know of, and it was 2 instances where, you know, I think there was some sort of a demonic attachment.
That's yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. It's like it's hard to verify because like my first time hearing about it, but like if that's the case, I really wouldn't be surprised about that.
And you know all the movies that they're constantly doing that. Did you see Prometheus?
Yes, I have. Where it's like, yeah, humanity comes from an alien that that pretty much suicided himself, turned himself into this black goo that went in the water supply, and then that black goo created humans.
Yeah. Well, and they're signaling us in all these movies like the black goo life form. It's so weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, we should probably get it going for the evening. But I'd probably
Well, yeah, it was nice. It was nice chatting. We should. I want to do this again because there's a lot of things that you brought up before that like you haven't even touched on right now, and there's more I wanted to say. But yeah, it's like I gotta be up in like 8 hours, so I should probably go to bed.
I knew you and I would kill it together, meaning like, you know, 80% of what I know, and I know 80% of what you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that other 20% we each don't know that could really like dial it in. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the triangulation I'm talking about.
I understand that. Yeah. Well, it was nice talking to you, but I really do got to get going to bed. Appreciate it. And yeah, we can do this again.
All right, Mike. Have a great evening.
Yeah, good night. I'm gonna be going to bed like right after I brush my teeth. So yeah, good night.
I'm gonna clip that out and that one thing, and then I'll send it to you. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Also, try and clip out the intro if you can, because it's like, you know, like
Just
7.
too long.
Yeah, huh?
Just too long.
Well, it's more like if people click off, that deboosts you in the algorithm. So it's like if people click on like, oh, why is this music playing for 3 minutes? Like that. Yeah, that's more of the reason why. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, sounds good. Goodbye.
Bye, Mike.